Yeah, if you walk outside, it's going to feel like 11.
Yeah,
Just be
or
careful.
something like that, or 6.
Yeah, cold. Hey, it's cold outside.
Very cold, very cold.
That's the official weather forecast from Dave. It's cold outside.
Yeah, there it is.
Put your hat on. Put some gloves on. Do you see the guy walking with his shorts on in Walmart? That's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Stop that.
It's still about shorts weather for a lot of people.
And unconnected to the guy walking in shorts in the Walmart, it's now time for a little conversation with Matthew Archbold.
Yes, the very urbane and man about town, bon vivant, Matthew Archbold, who gave us a terrific little hour that went by real quickly yesterday on Faith with Reasons. And I know, Matthew, there's a lot of important stuff that we talked about yesterday, including these miracle hamster stories.
What?
You know what the funniest thing? And I was telling my wife, and she loves, when I share these personal stories with you guys. She just loves that. But this is the funny thing. When she called my daughter over, she was so the hamster got out and walked through the brownies and ruined the brownies. And of course, she tried to cordon it off later and say, "Oh no, this section of brownies was untouched by the rabid rodent." We were like, "No, the brownies are done. Like, that's gone." But so she sees the steps and she calls my daughter over and she says, "You see this?" And my daughter's like, "Yeah, the rodent must have gotten out." And my wife goes, "Yeah, that's what I was kind of thinking." Kind of thinking.
What are these tiny footprints doing in the chocolate brownies? Yeah.
Exactly. Like if it were like a television show, like one of the, it would be like the bloody footprints walking away from the body and then into another room and be like, "I think the killer might be in that
room." Well observed, Mr. Watson. There you go.
So this morning, my wife is not used to having keys anymore. You know how everything just starts and you just need the keys on your body?
Right.
But all my kids have those cars, and because we spoil them, and my wife has that car, but I still have a car that you actually have to use the key. So I was parked behind my wife this morning, and she moves my car, but then because she's unfamiliar, I guess, with having keys, she dropped the keys and somehow kicked them under the car in the street.
Oh, my goodness.
And so this morning she wakes me up. She's like, "Hey, Matt, good news, bad news." I was like, "Okay." And she said, "I moved your car out of the way, so you don't have to worry about that. The bad news is your keys are under the car and I can't reach it."
Yeah.
And did she say, and this is payback for the rodent being on the brownies? Because it sounds like that's exactly what was happening.
Yeah, so I had to go out and crawl under my GMC this morning in the rain and risk life and limb from passing motorists and to retrieve my keys. It was a heck of a morning.
Was your wife watching and snickering? I'm just asking.
Was there any filming going on?
You know what? It's funny. I kept expecting her to leave because I'm at the end of the driveway, crawling under the car, and she's just sitting there. And I really did suspect that at one point. Are you filming this? Why are you sitting there?
There are now 1,200 views on YouTube of.
Right. Check out the short, chubby, bearded guy trying to fit under the car.
That's fun.
Oh, so when I left you last night, I was about to walk into my daughter's game.
Yes.
The basketball game. So
he's on the air with us till 5, and the game starts at 5.
Oh, it starts at 5.
So he just finishes the show and goes in to watch the game.
Yeah. They played the number 5 team in the entire country, and they ended up losing by 20. But the good news is, at the end of the game, no one needed to be pepper sprayed.
Oh, I take umbrage, severe umbrage.
I figured you'd enjoy that one.
Yeah, were the other girls trying to plant a flag on the court? No, that.
Well, that doesn't really work. It's wood. You know how that works.
It also doesn't
really
work on It also doesn't work on football fields that are not sod. You know,
exactly.
Like these guys have not yet figured out you can't actually plant a flag.
So I wanted to be in the room. I know I keep waylaying you on any major issues you want to talk about. I wish, though, that I was in the room when Hunter Biden was talking about the pardon that he received. Because they were probably like, okay, so you need a pardon for any crimes you may have committed since your dad became president in 2020. And it's like, we may need to back that up a little bit.
Yeah, right.
It's like 2019, 18, 7. I want to know what happened in 2014 that was the demarcation date for the pardon. Like, why? Because it has to be a reason, right?
Mm-hmm. And isn't it crazy? I was asking Mr. Finn earlier, 3 questions for Mr. Finn, and one of them is, do you believe there are aliens on other planets? And he said, maybe, maybe not. And it reminded me of this pardon that he may or may not have committed. Like what? Like, what does that mean? Like, anything he ever did for this 10-year period, he gets away with. I'm like, that's quite broad language there.
Well, however, Jill is holding him accountable for those stolen cookies when he was 9.
Yeah, right.
And we should all say a prayer for the Supreme Court, which is hearing the case for trans procedures on children.
Mm-hmm. In Tennessee,
so let's all keep them in our prayers and hope and pray that comes out correctly.
Yeah. And
they've got till like June to figure this out, I guess.
And this as a leftover or as an extension of what you guys were talking about yesterday, we're seeing a trend in a different direction, right? And we have to celebrate that, continue to pray, of course, but you have to acknowledge that we might be moving in a better direction.
I truly believe we are. And I think, it's such a subtle shift. It's because I think the major difference is the world is still really, really dark, but we're seeing it now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like the frogs boiling in the water, but now we know. And this is still going to take a lot of work and a lot of effort, and there's going to be a lot of problems and a lot of pushback. But I think so many people see it now, how dark it is and how much the light is needed right now. And people are reaching out for it. That's the difference. But it doesn't mean that everything's, hunky-dory, but it just means we finally acknowledge the problem. And, and you talk to people who suffer through addiction, that is the first step. And you have to first acknowledge the problem before you can do anything about it. And I think that's where we are. And, I mean, does that seem like good news? Like it's a slight good news, but it's the good news we have right now. And I think it is the first step in a necessary slog that's coming up that we're facing right now, because we have a lot of work to undo the work that's been going on the last few decades.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and here's the thing, and I think everyone here would agree with me. All of this is traceable. I mean, you could trace it back to Matthew Archbold. And so here's the thing. If you are making that big of a difference and you're such a national treasure, no more crawling under cars, man. What if something happens to you? That everything gets reversed. We go in the bad directions again. Don't do it. Don't do it.
We're sending the Secret Service over to encircle you with protection.
Thank you, Matthew.
God bless, guys.
Have a great day. And we'll be right back here on Morning Offering.